Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Milk Hour. Happy Monday. Weird sound checks are weird. A second ago, the mic wasn't working, so we had to do this as a second take. I'm Puffy.
I'm Jerry, and apparently you're just supposed to remain silent this whole episode.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think that's what the omen was saying.
That's what my mic is trying to tell me. Guys, I just want to put this out there. I'm really upset that not everybody watches Game of Thrones like the moment the show comes out on Sundays, and I don't want to alienate viewers, so we're obviously not going to talk about it, but I mean, I want to talk about it so bad.
I don't understand you people who don't watch Game of Thrones the night it comes out. It's on like the internet like within an hour. Just watch it because you're ruining it for the rest of us.
You are.
Who need to discuss the best episode ever.
I have
exaggeration.
I have many inputs, and I feel like we could discuss it for hours, and we would have to condense it into a 30-minute show. But
I would like to congratulate the 2016 NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers on their victory over the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, but not LeBron James. Fuck him.
No, LeBron.
No, he's a drama queen. Since you brought it up, we're gonna. This isn't what we're talking about
this
today.
It was one of the best championship performances in history.
I am not discrediting anything from the Cleveland Cavaliers. I am happy for them. Congratulations to them. It was a very hard-fought series. They were the first team in history to come back from a 3-1 deficit in the NBA and win a championship. You know, it's impressive. However, this does not change my opinions on the drama queen LeBron James, okay? You're talking about a man who a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter, you know, makes contact with another player while he's coming down after trying to dunk and is rolling around on the floor, grabbing his right wrist in agony. And I was sitting there going, he's selling it, and you were like, no, he's hurt. He's hurt. He might be benched. Then not only did he throw the free throws following, but when the game ended, he collapses to the ground and starts heavily banging that same right wrist in celebration on the floor. And you know what? That's my problem with LeBron James. He's a fucking drama queen. I can't deal with it.
I thought he broke it.
Yeah, you did, because he sells it that well.
But clearly it was a Charlie horse. Just a really bad Charlie horse, you know?
Congratulations to the Cavaliers. LeBron James is still a fucking douche in my mind. I mean, I will respect his skill as a basketball player, but I'm not going to respect him for playing, you know, and we accept it. It's commonly accepted that basketball is a drawing foul sport. It's a lot like soccer. But when you sell it like a soccer player, you lose respect in my eyes. And that's just the way that I feel about it.
Are you saying that LeBron James is the Sidney Crosby of basketball?
Yeah.
Okay. I can live with that, I guess.
Okay, that's fair.
But he's still the best.
No. He's the best currently in the game. Give Steph Curry a few more years, he'll pass him easily.
Okay, well, not this time.
No, not this time. That's fine. But then again, I mean, look at that statistic. That's another interesting thing. No team with like the dominating leading season in any sports series has ever won that following championship.
Except the Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins.
They
it was
perfect.
a 12-game season, though.
Yeah. No, it was 17. Including the playoffs.
Total, yeah. But it was 12 games in the regular season.
We're talking to you, Patriots fans.
Yeah, looking at you guys.
Yeah, looking at you guys.
You know, 16 and 1, 17 and 1, when even your best isn't good enough? 18 and 1.
18 and 1.
When your best just isn't good enough. But moving on, that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we are going to talk about video games. Before you stop listening, we're not talking about like specific video games. We're talking about the technology that's coming out in the video game industry and how we feel it might impact the rest of the world and the rest of society. For example, the Oculus Rift recently shipped its first wave of items, the Rift itself, to customers who had pre-purchased it. It was supposed to arrive mid-June, and it did on time. Something like $600 for this piece of equipment, and it is a completely new piece of equipment when it comes to video games. You're talking about a piece of headgear that you put on, and it completely immerses you in a video game using the technology of what are you doing? Of virtual reality.
I'm just counting.
Oh, that's fine. So, I mean, a lot of people are really excited about this, and I get the hype, I get the excitement. It's new, it's exciting, but to me, it's a little terrifying.
I haven't even seen the I haven't seen the visual display of the Oculus Rift.
It's beautiful.
I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
It's a virtual reality experience, correct?
Right.
So fully immersive, like 360 degrees.
Yes.
Is that kind of like what we're seeing on Facebook now with these like...
Yeah, the videos that they put up where it's like, turn your camera all different directions and you can see everything. It's like that, but you're not holding something, you know what I mean?
Do you know that the Nintendo NES came out on July 15th, 1983? That's 36 years ago.
Yeah. And that wasn't even the first gaming system.
That's insane. Well, no, Atari was before.
ColecoVision.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I thought it was later than that.
No.
Like late 80s.
No.
That
That might actually be the Japanese release. It may have come later in the US because those release dates are always staggered. Like the Pokemon games come out in Japan like a month or two prior to the North American games. So it wouldn't have been that
Pokemon,
big,
what
but-
terrible games those were.
Oh my god, amazing games. Greatest thing ever. Pokemon Go is coming out soon. I'm so excited about it. But again, I don't want to, talk about random video games that are coming out. The Oculus Rift, virtual reality gaming, to me is a terrifying concept. And I'm not sure I'm okay with it.
Why does it terrify you?
Because I grew up in the age of couch gaming, which is basically like on a Saturday night, I would go over to my cousin DJ's house because, his parents were able to get him like all the cool video games and shit. And we would sit like, it would be like me, him, my cousin Dave, sometimes my little brother Joe would come with us, and we would all sit on a couch and play video games like Super Nintendo or the regular Nintendo. We'd like pass the controller back and forth playing Mario. So like, yeah, we're playing video games, but at the same time, we were still like physically and socially interacting with people around us. We've evolved many years since then to a point where like online gaming is the big thing, and I'm okay with that because like while I'm sitting in my room on a Friday night playing Call of Duty Black Ops or something, I'm still playing like with you and Mike and Stos and them, so like it's still some form of social interaction, but like virtual reality takes it one step further out of that social aspect. You are now fully immersed in this game. You're wearing a piece of headset, so like you can't see the outside world in your peripherals anymore. It's just you in the game. And while that's amazing in terms of being able to like fully experience something, it's also terrifying in like what happens when that technology starts going into other aspects of life.
Isn't it? I mean, okay, so you've got the headset on. Do you still use a controller?
Yes.
Are you still using so you're sitting there, you've got the headset, but you're still using your Xbox or PlayStation or whatever PC controller,
or a keyboard or a mouse. Yeah, but they're already working on prototypes where it's like, for example, with a Wii remote, if you ever adapted a VR headset to a Wii remote and you were playing like, or no, like a PlayStation remote, right? The PlayStation Move thing with the handle that you just kind of carry around and you play like Skyrim, you draw it back like a bow and you move around. And yeah, so like right now, yeah, you still have a controller, but you're still immersed in the game like mentally.
Okay, so it's not like you're in the game and you're seeing everything in 3D and you're also playing the game with your movement. So there's still a disconnect there because you still have the controller. So it's not like you're walking on a track or simulating motion. You're still using that controller.
No, but that might go that way because again, you can look up
it's
videos right now.
It's going to go that way. It's just not there yet.
Yeah, you can see guys who already have like created
That's
like
sick.
these. Yeah, like Jerry's looking at a test footage right now of like VR games that are accessible, and it's just it's insane. We highly suggest you guys look it up because again, it's super interesting, but it's super scary to me. Like once this starts going into other things, like the Galaxy S7 has a virtual reality component attached to it where you can buy the headset and like VR through your phone.
Right.
Is that not too much?
Why is that too much?
Like, you could just have people sitting on a bus, like a ton of people sitting on a bus, right? And I'm a big believer in chance encounters, who are now no longer communicating with anybody at all because you have this big-ass headset on your face.
They're not going to be communicating anyway. They're all going to be staring at their phones.
Nah, bullshit. I talk to people all the time.
Or they're going to have their phones up on the VR. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, like, I mean, do you really need a virtual reality headset to scroll fucking Facebook, though?
I don't know, but people buy the latest, greatest. This is something that I would use in my own home because I wouldn't feel comfortable in public not seeing what's going on around me because at any given moment, something might happen. So that's kind of do it at your own risk if you're out in public. I would only do this at home so I could get the best experience. But right now, we play a lot of Call of Duty. What's the difference between me sitting on my couch and looking at my TV screen? The only thing I'm changing is the display. I'm still going to be sitting on my couch.
So, like, let's talk about families, communities, stuff like that. Like if a son is playing his VR game in the living room with like his family around, like is small talk conversation like not a thing that happens among families anymore? Because I assume that it is, and if it is, this is only going to further take away from it. You're going to be fully immersed. What if? Okay, here's the thing about VR. this is an interesting tidbit. When they were testing out the VR to make sure it was working in all capabilities, can you guess what the first thing that they put on the VR to, quote, play was?
No.
It wasn't a video game. It was porn.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was porn. And that's fine.
There's going to be a huge market for that.
Well, there's going to be a great market for that. But here's the thing, like, okay, you have, you know, you got a 17-year-old kid. He's got a VR, whether you got it for him or he worked for it, whatever. He's in his room, you go to check on him, you open the door, he's looking at porn on his VR. Now, two things. One, the sound comes through the headset, as I understand it, so he's not going to hear you open the door. Now he's got this headset on, he's not going to see it. So he's not going to stop, and it's going to be, like, even more awkward because you're going to open the door and, like, without noticing, this kid's just going to be full-blown going at it with his VR, and that's creepy, man.
But again, I mean, hopefully he's doing that behind closed doors at a time where he doesn't think he'll get caught anyway. Right? I mean, it's not like...
I mean, I do it with the door wide open.
Oh, my God.
Just because, you know, sometimes... Whatever.
I feel like virtual reality is like what all gamers since Nintendo or prior have been waiting for. You're waiting for that immersive digital experience where you can literally, or semi-literally, I guess, leave this world and go to another one, interact with that world, without sensation. I imagine at some point they'll work sensation in, and then come back out and be like, okay, that was cool. It's kind of like going to laser tag, except you don't have to leave your house.
Yeah, but that's not weird at all.
I don't think it's weird. I just think as technology advances, it's going to it's like any new thing. It's going to be perceived as new and scary. I think where it does get scary is I feel like you're going to have some people, especially in, let's take Skyrim. Let's say Skyrim goes VR.
Goodbye to those people's lives.
Yeah, and let's say it goes VR, and let's say at some point they do remove the controller. What if people just stay in those worlds? And that's what I get a little bit worried about, because I feel like right now it's really easy to get addicted to a video game, especially if you have an addicted personality. What happens when you're immersed in that world and you're doing way better in that world and you're like, this is my world now?
Yeah.
I'm going to stay. And then you starve to death on your couch.
Which is possible. And before anybody like even comments or tries to respond like, that would never happen, your primal instinct would take over, it has happened without VR. You're talking about EverQuest. Some guy forgot about his baby while his wife was away for the weekend. Baby died. Another guy, before account restoration was so easy in World of Warcraft, his girlfriend deleted his account. He jumped out of the fucking 10th story window. Like, people have died in relation to video games for less than being so immersed in something, so in with something, like becoming a part of something so much that, I mean, these are absolute possibilities. But for me, it's even less like the health to the person themselves, but like, if this technology grows outside of the video game community, and it's going to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be localized to just video games. It's going to start really assaulting the social aspect of the world, and that's scary to me.
Well, what do you mean the social aspect, though? I mean, specifically. So we talked about porn. It's gonna be porn. There's gonna be movies. There's gonna be movies in VR.
You can already on the Oculus Rift that just left. You can already watch YouTube and Amazon and HBO Go on these things already.
But in that regard, it's really just an alternate display.
Do you remember Google Glass?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still around.
What if VR adapts to something like Google Glass?
That I don't know that it could, because Google Glass is just. It's just an interface. I mean, you can still see the physical world around you while having a kind of a HUD up in front of you. You can't wear the Oculus Rift out and about because you can't walk.
The Oculus Rift, no. But, like, eventually they're gonna have, you know... Eventually video games are gonna... Because, like, right now, it's like, you still use the controller to move. So the Oculus Rift isn't so immersive that, like, you're up and walking around and shit like that. The most about it is, like, imagine you're playing a video game with, like, really tall cityscapes, and you climb up to a skyscraper, and you're looking around, and you're like, whoa, this is beautiful. Then you look down, and the depth going down to the surface level of that city, like, it can make you nauseous. Like, my buddy Ethan, he got one. Of course he got one, because he always gets his hands on this cool shit first. But he was playing this. I don't remember the game, but it was like space dogfighting, and he was like, it was fucking amazing. Like I felt like even with the controller, like he felt like he was in that game. It made him motion sick and shit like that. You can't tell me that eventually this technology is not going to evolve to a point where like you can wear it out and about. Or you're going to be in it where, like, you're moving around with it. I feel like there's a line to draw.
But,
I've
like,
never been scared of technology with video games.
Virtual reality, sir? Like, if I'm walking down the street, what does my VR headset, what does it do while I'm walking down the street?
I have no idea. I'm just saying the potential's there.
I don't see the potential in that regard. I don't understand. If I'm walking down the street or I'm going to work or whatever, and I need to, if I'm at work and I'm on my computer and I'm typing a paper, like, what is my VR headset going to do that's beneficial to me in that moment? And it's something like that, like maybe Google Glass is cool if you can like navigate a web browser like in front of your eye.
Didn't they stop producing that?
I don't know if they did or not.
I thought it totally flopped. I'm gonna check that.
But I don't know. Virtual reality gaming has always been like, I've always been waiting for that because I want to feel like I'm somewhere else. And also, I feel like I kind of have a physical advantage over a lot of gamers in that, like, I'm not as good at, like, shooting a gun. I can't shoot a real gun for crap.
Fair.
I can't. But I'm very coordinated and I'm relatively athletic. So if we were in, like, a actual Call of Duty where, like, suddenly, like, I can only run as fast as I can run,
I'd be
and
fucked.
I can only jump as high as I can jump, minus like the game features or whatever. Now suddenly I'm at this advantage where all these fat gamers out there. I'm not saying all gamers are fat. I'm just saying there are fat gamers who can no longer destroy me because they're fucking pudging around on the ground, and I'm like, haha, bitches. And I come by and just like roll, and then I shoot them and they're dead. And now I'm having a great time.
Okay. So maybe not in like outside world perspective it's as impactful, but I do think it's still impactful to like inside the home. I feel like it's a lot easier to get up and walk away or like put down a controller and like, all right, you're married, you're in your mid-20s, you got a video game console, you're sitting there, you're playing Bloodborne or whatever, you know, for a few hours, just vegging out after a long day of work. You get to a spot where there's no enemies, your wife's in the other room, she's like, hey, can you come help me with the dishes quick? Okay, that's easy. Let me put down the controller and walk into the other room. But what happens when you are so immersed into a game that like the outside world starts to dull out, where you can't even hear it anymore?
But but that happens to me now. If I'm playing a video game and I'm into that game, my selective hearing is like through the roof. Like I don't hear people talking. Like I'm focused. It's just...
That's crazy, man.
That's how I am.
I feel like
I tunnel vision. I don't know, when you sit in your room and you're playing a game and you're listening to like something on the computer, like a YouTube video, I could never do that. I can barely put like the race on silent and like stay involved in that, because when I'm playing a game, it's like focus and like I need to be there.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? So like for me, switching to VR is just putting on an accessory. It's not any...
Well, because it's dull. Like, all right, so like you have selective hearing, and I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people. But like playing a video game doesn't dull any of your other senses while you're playing that video game. You know what I mean? Like if somebody walks in front of you, it's gonna distort the line between you and whatever you're looking at. And it's gonna grab your attention. If someone speaks to you close enough, like I've gotten your attention while you're playing video games, it's a little bit more of a hassle. But yeah, but when every other sense is being diverted to like focusing on what's going on, and you start to get overtaken by that, it's going to become a bigger issue to me. I'm not saying it's not something that shouldn't be created. I'm just saying I think the potential for what comes afterward could be a bit too much. Is there a point where we need to draw a line and say, hey, don't we have enough? Or is it just constantly like keep going and keep going and keep going until basically you could live your entire life without talking to another person?
What comes afterward, though?
What comes afterward, circular tracks that you're strapped into that allow you to move as if you're moving in the video game. So, like,
right.
Walking to a destination becomes a thing, which is great for exercise.
Right.
Granted,
Absolutely.
I will immediately concede that point because that's one of the highlights of it that I like is you know, it keeps you active and moving, so video games no longer becomes sedentary. But the more you put the player into the game, the less it becomes a game to me, and the more it becomes a secondary life.
Like the game Second Life.
I've never heard of that game.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know what you're talking
they talked
about.
about it on The Office. Anyway, when you read a book, you get immersed in the book. I know you don't physically go interact with it, but you get immersed in it. When you play a video game now, there's a level of immersion there. When you get immersed in a virtual reality world, I can see where it might be a little unsettling, like when you shut the game off and take off the headset. I can imagine that there's a transition period there. It's like, whoa. You know what I mean? But outside of that, I don't understand what the issue would be. I think some people will get addicted and some people will get too immersed. But that's how it is now. So I don't see the scare factor here.
Well, I mean, let's talk about health issues for a second. Man, I cannot talk today. Health issues. You know how many people are going to have fucking heart attacks from this piece of equipment?
Who's going to have a heart attack from this?
Dude, okay, so, like, there are games out there right now, and I'm going to plug one shamelessly here for a second. If you're a PlayStation owner and you have PlayStation Plus, go fucking download the Resident Evil 7 demo, because that shit is terrifying. All right? It is, like, I fucking downloaded it and played it for, like, an hour and a half, which is a really good amount of time for a demo, with, like, all the lights off, blinds closed. The only, like, luminance that I had in the room was the glow of the TV. I was ready to fucking shit myself, all right? Because it was so immersive with, like, the atmosphere of the game and the ambiance that it brought in. Imagine doing that with the VR. There are already VR horror games, and I think one of the genres of video games that's going to be revolutionized by this piece of equipment is horror games. Survival horror, running around, feeling defenseless, stuff like that. But, like, there's going to be a scare at some point in time, and like an hour into a video game where you're so immersed you feel like you're there, and something's going to grab you, and you're going to have a fucking heart attack, man.
I mean, maybe. That might be the case, but again, I feel like gamers already expect that, so I think there'll be a transition period where it's like, oh my god, it's right in front of me, and then eventually it'll be like, okay, I'm gonna die here, and then you just get eaten.
I don't know if I can get comfortable with this new piece of equipment. Like, I want to try
That's
it.
surprising to me. I feel like you would embrace this with, like, an open mind and open heart.
Yeah, you'd think so, right? I've always been down for every new bit of technology that comes out. Like, all right, the NVIDIA 1080 is either out or coming out this month. It should already be out by now, I think. It's a graphics card that, compared to the cost, like, I have no reason to upgrade mine for a few years, but it's just enough of an upgrade for the cost that I'm like, oh my god, I need this. But, like, every new generation of console or every update to video gaming software, I've always been on board with. But for some reason, I can't get 100% behind this one, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a fear of what could come after this. You know, how immersive does it get? And to the point where, like, in 10 years, you're buying, like, fucking video game bodysuits.
Yes, absolutely. That's the next step, is you would be wearing bodysuits with some type of sensor on it so that you could track all your movements through the game. And I think that's, again, I think that's fine. I don't think it'll be as weird as it seems thinking about it.
Is that what it is? Is it just because I'm thinking about it, but there's no, like, concept
think
to
of
grasp?
all the movies, and they don't all have good endings, but think of all the movies that have, like, already kind of predicted that this is where this is going as far as, like, virtual reality or, like, actual reality, but in a virtual world. This concept isn't foreign to me, and I just feel like we were going to see it in our lifetimes, and honestly, I thought it'd come sooner. But, like, you come home from work, you're like, I want to relax a little bit. I want to play some Call of Duty, next crap title, whatever. So you put on the bodysuit and you put on your headset and you get up on your, 360-degree rotating platform with a little treadmill thing on it, and you go. And then after, like, 2 hours, you play, like, 7-8 matches, and you're like, all right, I'm hungry.
Do you not feel like there's going to be, like physical repercussions to the body from virtual reality? Because I feel like there is. Like, if I'm playing a simulation game where I'm jumping out of a plane, I'm not going to feel entirely like I'm jumping out of a plane. You're not going to be able to simulate that wind force as I'm plummeting towards the ground. You're not going to be able to simulate the impact, but you can't tell my brain that. If all my eyes are seeing is everything indicating that I'm falling out of a plane and about to hit the ground without a parachute, it's going to send those signals to my brain. Is that going to cause some sort of reaction from the brain to tell the body, hey, we just died?
Yeah, not that you died, but I think your brain is going to interpret the falling sensation. I feel like some people will probably puke from some type of motion sickness, because I bet that the motion isn't exact to how your head turns. I bet there's a little bit of a delay, or it moves a little too far, and your brain knows exactly how far you should be moving, but maybe the graphics don't adjust as quickly, and now your brain's like, what the hell's going on? There's some type of distortion here.
Right.
And then I feel like you might get sick. But outside of that, I feel like you'll feel the experience of falling. I feel like your adrenaline will get going. I feel like you'll have an emotional response to it, but I don't know that that's a bad thing.
I'm not a scientist. I don't know, like, I'm not a neurologist. I don't know a whole lot about the brain, but to me, as a simple dude, if I'm being told, like, hey, your brain is thinking that this is supposed to be happening, but because of these delays, this is happening, and it's causing an issue with your brain, isn't there a potential for some sort of prolonged damage to the brain there? Like, all right, so you have a delay of, say, like 3 inches when you turn. You turn your head to the right, and the video game camera, the virtual reality headset, turns just an inch or two too far and sends that false signal to your brain. And your brain's now confused and is like, well, what the fuck is this? What if your brain adjusts to that range of motion?
It's going to.
But then you take off the headset, and every time you turn, you
have to readjust.
What the fuck, dude?
Readjust.
That's gotta cause a problem. Like, there's gonna be some sort of health issue there that, like, has to be addressed.
You might just get used to it, though, because we're very adaptable in that way. You might just get used to that going back and forth between realities.
I don't know if I could do that.
I don't think it's as big a problem as... I understand what you're saying. I really understand what you're saying. But, like, everyone's been to IMAX where, like, I'm sure, like, either in school or whatever, and you go to, like, one of those, like, nature shows or whatever.
Yes.
And, like, the screen is huge, but, like, those nature things are always like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to, like, have the camera plummet out of a plane and go high speed through the fucking mountains, and you're sitting in your chair like, oh, my God.
Right,
because because the screen is so big, you feel like the movie theater has, like, inverted, and, like, the whole theater is falling to the ground. And it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same. And part of it is going to be recognizing this is a game. This is virtual reality. So initially, I think it's going to be scary, and it's going to be unsettling and disorienting. And I think after a day or two, it's going to be like looking at your TV. I think it's going to be the same experience.
I mean, I'm probably overthinking it. I'm probably, like, being overly paranoid about it. Am I going to get the Oculus Rift at some point when I can afford it? Yeah, I mean, it's like a 600, maybe even, I don't know the exact price, actually. Can we check that while I'll check it here while I'm going on my spiel. But the thing is, maybe I'm overthinking the whole thing, you know?
I think basically $599 for the Oculus Rift. I think basically you've got this new technology, and I really think it's just going to be normal. I think it's going to be a normal experience. I think what you need to worry about a little bit is, will this enter reality as a practical thing? Can we fight wars through virtual reality?
No.
Can we do that?
No, that would
Can
never
be like
happen.
us versus China, let's go?
No.
We're all on VR. We've all got guns. Let's kill our virtual selves. Tag, you're it.
That doesn't work that way.
Why not?
Because
no
then-
deaths.
Except all the deaths. It would just never end. And then some asshole, is going to just show up while everybody's got their fucking headsets on and just, like, put a bomb in the middle of the room and walk away.
Oh.
Because people are
that'd be really
terrible.
clever.
Yeah, I mean, it's clever, but it doesn't make it any less
I don't
terrible.
think I would do it.
I might be overreacting about this whole thing, and I want to know what everybody thinks. Like, do you think it's going to cause any issues whatsoever, whether it be health issues with the brain or, like, issues in society and how we communicate with one another? Because it's already bad enough when everybody's, like, nose deep in their phone. Which, by the way, my mini sidebar, if you're out to fucking dinner with your friends and you're spending the entire time scrolling through your Facebook, you're paying for the fucking meal for everybody because you're an asshole.
I think that person probably just needs more interesting friends.
The person who's scrolling through their phone?
Yeah, he's scrolling through the
What
phone
if they're-
because all his friends suck.
What if his friends are wicked awesome and he's just a douche?
They're not awesome. If they were awesome, he would not be on his phone all the time.
Maybe, maybe not. People are obsessed
Maybe
with
there's
society.
a family emergency.
No.
Maybe he's
Okay.
texting someone he cares about more than his friends.
We're gonna have an episode about this.
Are we gonna have an episode
We're gonna have
about
an
this?
episode about this.
Okay,
'Cause
'cause
I
I
have,
think
I have
you're-
many things to say.
I don't think you're wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But honestly, you're wrong.
Wow.
You're wrong.
Wow.
You're wrong about all of this.
I'm wrong about everything.
You are.
Okay, am I wrong about the Oculus Rift? Am I overthinking this? I'm probably gonna get it, let's say, within a year or so here, just so I can try it out and have my own
I don't think it's worth
experiences.
$600.
Dude, the game capabilities are everything. Like, you're talking about something that can get it can do a whole fuck ton of shit.
So I need to go buy a console for like between $400 and $500, and I need to go buy the Oculus Rift.
No,
for
the
another
Oculus Rift is for
$600.
the PC. Like, PlayStation is going to come out with its own PlayStation VR. I don't know if the Oculus actually connects to the Xbox or PS4 right now.
Okay, so
I
this
think
is
it's
PC
only for PC.
Okay, so we should see prices come down as competitors enter the market.
Right,
I imagine.
and that'll be fine, because like PlayStation, there's an article somewhere, I think you're actually pulling it up right now, where they were talking like, we were surprised by that cost because we were projecting a lot higher, which means they're going to have to go back and reevaluate. We are at the end of the episode. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I want to know what you guys think. Like, would you be cool with somebody else having this and playing it while you're in the same room with them, or do you feel like that takes away from like the whole purpose of hanging out? Do you think it's exciting? Do you want to see what comes after this? Do you want to see full body gaming suits with a fucking track underneath you, where like open world movements and like you're no longer sedentary? That's the shit I want to see, just because my fat ass could use it. But outside of it, I have other issues. But this has been the Coffee Milk Hour, the Monday episode, and we hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Please join in the discussion on Facebook, Podbean, YouTube. The links will all be here and in the description. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
I'm Puffy.
I'm Jerry.
And I forgot how to end the show there for a second. All right, bye-bye, everybody. Have a beautiful time.
Yup.